All right. Another good weekend of footy. I was just thinking before, we've been a bit lucky with the weather. We're getting a bit of rain at the moment, but it's all during the week. So looks like we're getting a fair bit in the next couple of days, and then fine and sunny again for Saturday. So someone's looking down at us pretty fondly at the moment. Some milestones for this week, all field umpires. Bentley Galpin doing his 50th game. Daniel Barbulovic doing his 200th game. So well done you guys. And one I forgot to acknowledge a couple of weeks ago was Amin Shahadi, who did his 300th, believe it or not. So well done to those guys. Quick thank you to, I know I've been asking a few favours from a few of you lately, for some of you to do extra games, filling in at last minute. I think we had 3 pull out in the last 24 hours on last Friday and 6 the week before. So it's been fun and games. We've been able to cover all the games that we normally cover. So wouldn't be able to do that without the help of a number of you. And yeah, I've said it a few times the last couple of weeks, I owe you a favour. So I owe a few favours. Just thought I'd remind everyone about the melee rule. Not that anyone got it wrong, but it's I need to get it into the umpires menu. It's not in there at the moment, but we have slightly altered it over the years. Our priority when a melee starts is to get the play moving. So if you can get the play going, do so, and then if they continue to fight, then you can report it as the melee rule, and then the clubs will get fined. But if you can't get the play going, say it's the example of the end of the quarter, or there's an injury or whatever it is, that's when we use our 3 whistles, and you need to warn them. What I normally say is, in that scenario, is that I blow the whistle, I say, keep fighting, you're going to be fined. Blow the whistle again, keep fighting, you're going to be fined. Normally, if you get that message loud and clear, they stop. So yeah, use your communication skills to warn the players, and then if they continue to fight, you put your note in the match report in Officials HQ, and we'll deal with it during the week. Tonight, with the coaching notes, I'll send out a list of current Umpires Association members. Basically, my attitude is you should all be association members. They do a great job, as we saw last Wednesday night, of supporting the umpires, whether it's putting barbecues on, or running a presentation dinner, or going into bat with you for fees and conditions, which are pretty good, you must say. So I think it's only right that everyone does sign up. And of course, there will be some that decide they don't. But I got sick of asking a few years ago, and I thought, well, I'm happy to provide footy for you for the rest of the year, but if you can't be bothered to support your fellow teammates and join the association, then we won't reward you with the grand final. So it's for field, boundary and goal. There's no exceptions made. If you want to be eligible for a grand final, you need to be association member. Even if you don't get a grand final, it's the right thing to be doing. So the link's on the website, and the list of current members, which obviously is going to increase a fair bit in the next few weeks when we get on people's backs about it. But I'll just, in the email, put a list of those who have signed up so far. All right, that's my list to go through tonight. Anyone want to bring up anything that happened on the weekend before we get on to the coaching video? Feel free to unmute yourself if you do want to mention anything.
Colin, I had a strange one on the weekend. A player took a mark, and I blew for the mark. He turned around to walk backwards and twisted his ankle. And the players then told him to sit down, and they took him off the oval. So he had left the playing surface. And while he was there and I was watching what was going on, I said, look, is it coming on? What's going on? They said, no, they're getting the vehicle around. The player then decided that he was going to get up and then he was going to walk back to the bench. But in doing so, they had already brought another player on to replace him. which would have probably meant that they had one player too many on the surface, but they didn't cotton onto it, and he just went straight across the middle of the surface and went out on the other side.
Oh, I think clicking that situation, a bit of common sense goes. You've stopped play anyway. Everyone knows what's happening. He's best to go get treatment as quick as he can, and if he is wandering across, you just hold the game up until he gets across. Yeah, I wouldn't be too
What?
pedantic about it. Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering what would have happened if the other captain called for a player count or something like that.
Well, you can say you've called time on. Game's not going at the moment. I'm waiting for that player to go off. I think, yeah. The league wouldn't take that seriously if they're going to call for a count. You would just want to say, hey, look, player safety, we're getting him off, getting him treated. Let's just hold off getting the game started until he's off. So yeah, I look, if you're going to look at things technically, then perhaps you could say there's too many on the field, but like we certainly wouldn't be taking action on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, let's have a look at the coaching video. Which hopefully you've had a chance to have a look at. It didn't get on until a little bit later on this morning, but we got there eventually. Okay. Mick, you want to unmute yourself? Mick Samet? Trying to work out how to unmute.
Yeah, got it, Cole. Sorry.
Oh, good, mate. Have you had a chance to look at the video yet?
I've tried mine. Mine still says loading video. I didn't know if it was an issue, but I'll see how I go. But all day, so I don't know if it's my computer or something weird today. But we'll have a look.
Yeah, sounds like you might have a.
It works normally. It's only this week.
Yeah, look. Yeah. No, look, I'll get someone else to come
right.
on. Only that you don't really see it very well on these replays. You really need to see the
Cool. Thanks.
See the link. You're getting away with it. Tom Hamper. Did I ask you a couple of weeks ago? I'm going to pick on you again.
Hello.
Hey, mate, have you had a chance to look at the video?
I had a very quick watch just before the meeting, just after I got home. So
how you go with the first one then? And what after your first day grade on the weekend?
Thanks.
Now they're running.
It happens in this one.
450. Mark taken there.
King's 25-metre penalty here. I reckon he just got it's a bit going on here, and he's reversed it. They've reversed it. So Kilburn.
All right. What did you make of all that?
So the player had taken the mark. He'd been tackled after he'd taken the mark, by the looks of it, and the umpire had paid a 25.
Yep.
But then the other player comes in, sort of third player in, pushes the player on the ground, and the decision was reversed from memory.
So that's what the umpires did. Are you happy with that?
I think from what you said previously, from that respect, I think that's probably a fair enough decision. There's no need for the player to come in and push the other player over when he was on the ground. So, that seems fair enough.
Spot on. Now, would have you done anything differently as an umpire in that scenario, watching what the umpire did?
I probably, as soon as that player took the mark and he was tackled, would have run in towards the contest just to be a bit closer.
Yeah.
Try and be a bit more visible, I guess.
100%, mate. You've nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. So, yeah. So what you see in the AFL these days is where a 50's paid is quite often the umpire, because they've got a 4 umpire system, They don't get necessarily too close to the players. It's taken downfield where the other umpire takes over. It's really our job in a two umpire system to get in there and bring the player back. And if Nathan had run in and had a bit more presence in that scenario, maybe that the players may not have taken it in their own hands. But yeah, Nathan wanted to run to where the 25 had been paid, and I would rather him run into where the players were, as you mentioned, to have a bit more presence. I think the right decision is to reverse it in that scenario. There's no need for him to push him over, as you said. There is another option where you could say, I was going to pay a 25, I'm going to cancel the 25 for doing that if you thought a reversal was over the top. But I think it's a pretty and so therefore just pay the mark without paying the 25. But I think you've got that up your sleeve, but you've also got up your sleeve to fully reverse it. And I think it's a strong enough push to fully reverse it. It needs some sort of action on the player coming in, because he just didn't need to do that, and he's taking control, and you need to take control back. Anyone else want to mention anything about that?
Yeah, Colin, sorry, it's Ali. I just I watched the video before, and my instant reaction was that the jumping on him late, I mean, I was almost thinking that looked like a yellow card for the guy who jumped on the player who took the mark. What's the bit you're talking about reversing it? What was the umpire initially paying? And sorry,
let's have a look at it. So here it's so the mark is taken, and then the Westminster player comes in and needlessly takes him to ground.
Yeah.
Look, the yellow cards can often be dependent on what's happening in the game. So if there's a whole lot of heat and stuff happening, and if you notice particularly like that player has caused trouble before, it may warrant getting in there and giving a yellow. I mean, if I just saw that, I wouldn't necessarily give a yellow straight off. But if there's been a lead up and that Westminster player had been involved, then you could. But then so the mark has been taken. The fact he's taken him to ground means there's a 25 paid, which is what Nathan is paying. And then this is where Tom was talking about, and I agree with him, getting in to take the player back rather than running to where the 25 is going to be set, would mean you have a lot more presence. But the Coolworm player who then comes in, the 21, just pushes him quite strongly to the ground and just didn't need to do it. So, yeah, as I said, there's a bit happening there. Does that all make sense, Ali?
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
All right. I like different people coming on and having a go. So, who is JD? Who's JD phone? I'm looking up your nose, and you were going for a walk. Who is that? You need to unmute yourself. I can't. Oh, is that Joel? It is Joel? Yeah. I can't hear you, mate. You've got yourself muted. You have to unmute yourself if you're going to have a go at it. All right. Marty Doint, is your phone working this week? Did send me a message afterwards saying you couldn't unmute yourself last week, or your computer. All right. Matt Harris. Actually, we've got two Matt Harrises on the line, I reckon.
Do you want me or the other one?
We'll have you, mate.
Okay.
All right, we'll go for the second one.
Umpire says, give it to me, I'll ball it up centre wing. Good start here for both teams. And there's another free kick, pushing the ball towards the boundary line when the umpire wanted it. Giving away the free kick ball.
All right, there was so much happening in this Division 6 grand final last year. What did you make of that one, mate?
It was pretty simple. Forster's running, calling for a ball up, and the player, as he's get up, he's knocked the ball away. So time wasting free kick.
Yeah. 100%. So I agree with Adam. I agree with you. I guess the reason why I thought it'd be worth talking about is many of you remember last year there was a Collingwood Fremantle game. I think it was Matthew Nichols paid a free kick when a Collingwood player was near the end of a game. I think Collingwood are in front. They were trying to wind the clock down. The clock had stopped because the umpire was going to ball it up. But whoever it was, a Collingwood player, gave the ball to another player who then gave it back to the umpire. And a free kick was paid, which Fremantle, I reckon, kicked a goal from. In that scenario, I understand why they paid it, because Collingwood have very smart set plays in those scenarios, and he was trying to delay getting the ball back to the umpire so they could set up properly.
Well, it's also an AFL directive that whoever
That's right.
has the ball has to give it back to them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want us paying that free kick in our footy. We're not that highly structured, but so the scenario last year, for those that remember, you can say to the players, "Hey, you need to give it straight back to me," and give them a warning, perhaps. But in this case here, I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I think it's the Eastern Park player just throws the ball way away, and I don't know what he was thinking, but that's so obvious that I think the free kick is entirely justified in that scenario. All right. Thanks, Matt.
No stress.
Well, why don't we get the other Matt Harris on? Matthew Harris. Are you able to unmute yourself, mate?
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Sorry.
All right.
I'll watch it for next week.
No, all good. All good. Ian Milson.
Colin, I'm on.
Have you watched it?
I have.
Very good. All right.
Or similar.
What's about that?
Yeah, so I think it was at the Goodwood. I might be getting the wrong way. So the Flinders Park player, I think it is, has pushed the Goodwood player in the back as the ball's crossing the line. So yeah, free kick in the back would be my call.
Okay. Certainly a free kick. Anyone else add to that?
Oh, it's Joel. I think I got myself unmuted now.
Beautiful. Doing a walk and talk.
I am. I literally just got off the bus, so I'm just kind of walking through the park. Hopefully, you don't hear the birds chirping too much through here. From what I could see, I mean, there's a pole in the way there, but I reckon the push in the back was a fraction late as well, from what I could see here.
Yeah. So.
Which means it was obviously after the ball went over the line. So you'd probably, from what I could see, probably pay 25 because it's after.
No. You're getting your 25s mixed up here. So we pay 25s after a mark or free kick has been paid.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's going to be a throw in. It's not a mark or free kick. So get out of your mind 25. I am looking for something else here. I think it's a dangerous push.
I reckon it's dangerous tackle.
Well, it's not dangerous tackle. It's a dangerous push.
Danger where he's done it.
So therefore, what are you going to do, Barry?
Well, he's got the free kick, and I'm probably going to give a yellow card.
100%. So it's a player's responsibility to know where the fence is. And if you're going to push a bloke into the fence like that, it's hurt him. Whether it's intentional or not, he's got to be better than that. So when you've got fences close to the boundary line, if you're going to push a player like that, 100% yellow card. It's not enough for a red card in that scenario, but definitely a yellow card. I mean, yeah. If it was done with like a real aggression, then it could be a red card. It could be a red card for engaging in rough play or rough conduct. But I think that's a perfect scenario for a yellow. I think the other thing to take out of this example is the person setting up the camera needs to get out of the way of the bloody post. Because yeah, that was annoying. All right, so there's the three examples. Let's have a look at there's a few of these examples in the coaching session I want to just stop and talk about. If you want to contribute throughout these examples, just unmute yourself and butt in. That's fine. But yeah, it's the heading for the coaching sessions contest for the ball. So a few of these are some of the sayings you've heard over and over. Some, yeah, the stuff that I've been drilled into from Shane Harris that I've passed on that I really front of mind for hopefully all of you. But paying the first obvious and blatant free kick. This one here, you don't go looking for free kicks. It should just stand out. He gets tripped up. And so you reward the ball player and get him paid free kick here. This scenario here.
Great pressure there by the Port defense. Just keeping in. Process stays in it.
It's a missed throw isn't the worst free kick to miss in the game, but when it's that obvious, he's pretty much scooped it up and tunnel balled it. You want to have a good angle to be able to catch those ones.
As we head down to Lockie on the boundary.
I'm not sure what he was thinking in that scenario.
Simon gets inside Port district.
Going towards the far boundary.
Here.
Out front of the
Well, it's holding on or in the back. Just a pretty obvious and blatant one. There was a bit of a bit of feeling in that game. So they're the type of free kicks that the umpires had to pay to keep control. Can you see the ball player's head and shoulders? If you can't, you need to move. In this scenario here, getting out from a ball up, getting a bit of distance lets you see that high contact. So the problem with that Ross Trevor player who's coming front on, the Salisbury player was head over the ball. So a correct high contact free kick. And as I said before, getting out from a ball up, getting a bit of distance between you and the ball allows you to see, have a good view of it. In this one, you actually have a look at the video here. Dennis does an amazing job to actually see around the players and sees the high tackle. And he wouldn't necessarily be able to see that if he wasn't on the move. Good high tackle free kick, but just good movement to be able to see that high tackle. And this one here, I actually don't know how Paul sees this. It would have to be because he's angling around, but that high tackle is on the other side to where he is. It's a really good pickup. Guess that's why he did the Divi 1 grand final last year. But you know, an obvious blatant free kick, certainly from the angle that we can see. So the questions you need to be asking yourself for holding the ball scenarios. It's a very complicated rule and one that you need to study if you're new to umpiring. And there's a chart, I think Barry, you may have helped put it together, that's in the umpires manual. You want to study that. The two key questions from the holding ball scenarios is there a prior opportunity and is there a genuine attempt? So if there's a prior opportunity, you need to at least get a handball or kick away. If it drops away, it's holding the ball. If there's no prior opportunity, you must make a genuine attempt. And if it spills loose, it's play on. If it's held in, it's ball up. So yeah, if there's no prior opportunity, you can still be penalised for holding the ball if there's no genuine attempt. So I'll have a look at some scenarios here. First one, there is a prior opportunity, so he has a chance to handball or kick. And then ball spills free after he's tackled, so therefore it's holding the ball. So we can all look at that and say, yes, that's a hole in the ball, but how do you explain it? So you explain it by saying he's had a prior opportunity, it doesn't handball or kick, ball spills free, so therefore it's holding the ball.
Out wide now, pass.
The next scenario, you can argue whether there has been a prior opportunity or not.
Can he find a player? Seaming through there.
But in this case, he doesn't make a genuine attempt. He pretty much just drops the ball. So in that scenario, if you say that he hasn't got a prior opportunity and then he like swings his leg around trying to kick it and it spills free, you can call play on. But he just drops the ball and there's no attempt to kick. So you could, whether or not it's a prior opportunity is debatable, but there's certainly no genuine attempt, so it's holding the ball.
He's wrapped up in a strong tackle.
And the third scenario is where there is no prior opportunity and there's no chance to really have a genuine attempt. So the right decision here is a ball up. Immediately tackled, held in. And so as Rashi does, calls for a ball up. No holding the ball in that scenario. So one that happens quite a bit in games. A player can be tackled by one arm, and the AFL guys are really good at penalising these. If a player is tackled by one arm and they've got one arm free with the ball, the wrong decision is to call for a ball up. It's not ever a ball up in that scenario. You need to hold the whistle and see what the player does. And if they make an attempt to kick it, as long as it's a genuine attempt to kick it and they're not just dropping it like the last player did, if they don't get there's no for opportunity, and then they make a genuine attempt and the ball spills free to play on. But if they just hold on to it waiting for a ball up, then it should be holding the ball. So it's either play on or holding the ball, not ever a ball up. So this one here, you'll see the player is from the Div 2 grand final last year. The player holds the ball underneath his arm and makes no attempt to get rid of it. He's in a difficult scenario. He obviously can't handball, but he's rightfully penalised because he's in that scenario. So it's one to watch out for, but yeah, don't be quick on the whistle to call for a ball up in those scenarios. If you identify that the ball is being held by one arm and it's free, you wait to see what the player does, and it's either holding the ball or play on. So a fend off is the prior opportunity. So the moment you see a player fend off, you automatically think to yourself, if he's tackled, it's going to be a handball or kick. So he goes to fend off the player coming towards him, and then he's caught and rightfully penalised.
Luke Hable, the skipper, or captain coach, I should say. Great umpire.
And then the really big thing to keep in mind, and the majority of our umpires do this, and it makes for a better game. We want the players to keep their feet, and if they don't, we want them to knock it out. And if they hold on to it and cause a pack to develop, as long as the tackler's not bringing the ball in, or there's other players that have hands on the ball, then we want to be tough on this to get the message out to players to keep their feet, or if they're on the ground, knock it clear. So in this case here, player goes to ground. He has caused that ball up by going to ground and grabbing hold of it. And strong decision, but that's exactly the right one.
Lots of goals.
Of course, it doesn't always have to be holding the ball or free kick. If they are playing footy and there's nothing obvious and blatant, just let them play. So in these scenarios here, there's no high tackles. There's one that's trying to get a high tackle, but it's not there. Everyone's going for the ball. Again, here, ducks into the tackle, gets rid of the ball in time, just waiting and seeing what the players do and reacting to what happens. Just good footy to be able to, or good umpiring to let the footy go. It's not necessarily good footy in that case. This one here, all right. So I remember sitting in the grandstand at Norwood Oval last year watching the Div 1 grand final, and it happened just a few metres from me, and it was a bone-crunching bump. Obviously, if there's any high contact with a bump like this, you need to pay a high tackle. And depending on the scenario, there could be a case for a card. But in this particular scenario, they both shoulder to shoulder. There was no high contact, and it was well played and well umpired. I might just watch it again because there is a last possession paid after it, but.
Cooper Gaffney. Those two boys are harder than
Cooper Gaffney was the Port Districts player that was involved in that bump. And when I said something about like how hard that bump was, lady in front of me turned around and she was his mum. And she, it was shuddering at the thought of what her boy was going to go through, but he got up and played on. The last three examples are all examples where the player has a mark or free kick. So it's a set kick scenario, and the player with the ball chooses to play on, and that is their prior opportunity. So the moment they choose to play on from a mark or free kick, if they're tackled, they must handle or kick, or it's holding the ball. So first one, He does go to play on, rightfully called to play on. Bit of stuff that happens after it. But and there's a 25 paid. But yeah, the Kilburn player does choose to play on, is tackled and doesn't get a handball kick. And same here, goes to play on. I think it's happened in the back line, so he caused the turnover for a shot at goal. But yeah, once he chooses to play on, the protective zone disappears. In this case here, angles out, rightfully called play on. And you don't expect players to necessarily turn it over like that, but you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, the big message from there is if they choose to play on for a mark or free kick, that's their opportunity. So the last message from the session is keep moving to be 20, 25 metres away and react to what happens. All right. Any questions or comments from any of those examples?
Yeah, Colin, you talked about a player attempting to kick the ball when being tackled. Does he have to make contact with his foot?
So it depends whether he's had a prior opportunity or not. So if he's had a prior opportunity, he must handball or kick. And if he doesn't connect, it's holding the ball. If there's no prior opportunity, he has to make a genuine attempt. And if he's trying to kick it and doesn't connect, it still made that genuine attempt, so it's play on. But then there was that example where he didn't swing the leg and wasn't making the attempt, and he just dropped the ball. So if he just drops it without making a genuine attempt, that's holding the ball. Yeah. Anyone else? All right. There's some good examples here. I do enjoy putting the coaching sessions together on video, so worth going back and having a look at that and just being really clear in your head about the reason for the decision. So obviously the what's your decision, sometimes the umpires get it right, sometimes they don't. All the other examples, I pick umpires that do the decision as I would want them to. So they're showing you how it's done. All right. I think that's all we've got time for, or well, it seems like we've covered everything anyway. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of rain around the next couple of days. Hopefully, it clears up for training, and we get a bit of a running on Wednesday night. This time of year, obviously, a bit cold, bit wet. The ones that are really keen, show that they're keen. You stand out from the others at this stage of the year. So I hope to see plenty of still at training. And yeah, fortunately, I think Saturday's looking pretty good. So without any further ado, we'll sign off the Zoom and we'll catch you Wednesday night.